Wherever you guys ended up at the end of 2016, I hope you were able to return home safely. You didn't get pulled over by police and you didn't wake up with too much of a headache this morning. Welcome to the first day of 2017. We have Juergen, the badass homesteader, here with us today, and that's how we're starting our New Year's, and he has some very interesting stories to share. Are you at the point where your homestead is completely sustainable right now?
I don't think any homestead is completely sustainable, and I actually did a video like the 5 myths of homesteading, and I really do believe that people really need to be like a community. Like the people that think, oh, I'm gonna have all my own water, or I'm gonna have all my own solar panels, and I'll just be all by myself. Like, why would you want to live by yourself? That just sounds perverted. Like, and so like in our community, we have like 500 acres in our community, and one of the reasons I got into bees was actually because a lot of the other people in the community already had things like chickens and goats. It's like, why am I gonna do chickens? There's already 3 or 4 families doing chickens. So this morning we had a little drama at the homestead. Looks like a bear got into our yard. We have it all cleaned up now, but I'll show some clips of the carnage. Don't know, we'll check in at the end of the week and see how all the hives are doing. So decided to do bees, and I also decided to do the sawmill. All right, we've skidded all of the logs to the farm. We'll be able to mill them in the next couple of weeks. So now we can make almost anything. We can do timber framing, pole barns or houses or whatnot. So I really like that I'm not my own self-sustained island. I can really rely on my friends and family in the area. Like when my Jeep went off the mountain that one time, like one of the guys in the community, he has this big backhoe. So he just picked the Jeep up and got it out. How many times I'll be missing a tool for around the farm, I go over to my neighbor's house and I'm like, hey, do you have this? So I don't like that mindset of just being self-sustained. Anything we do at the farm though, what we do try to say like, hey, we're about to purchase something for the cabin. And try to think about like, you know what, we can buy this and this will last a lot longer, or if the power went out for a week, it'll last through that power outage. So like we don't have a generator at the house. We have solar panels, but not a lot. We have this solar panel that's feeding for the power for the Bee-Bot robot computer. We have enough solar panels to run small electronics, like our ham radio. So like in a long emergency, I'll be able to power up my radio and talk anywhere around the world. I could send emails anywhere around the world without internet. What kind of communication do you have in your bug out bag? If you do not have some form of backup communication in your bag, you better have a good reason why not. I am well over 50 miles from the farm, and with a simple little radio, I could have communications all the way back to the farm in a bad emergency situation. There's enough streams inside of our community that even though a lot of us run off wells, and a lot of those wells are deep wells, so past 100 feet, some are even in the 800 feet, it doesn't matter. We have 5 springs in the community, so we would all just rally up and we would just make sure that everyone has water, because we have cisterns also like strategically around the community. So
the goal isn't really to be completely sustainable.
No.
So what are your biggest challenges at the moment with the homestead and your entire plan?
I'm down there by myself a lot, 80% of the time. So it's hard to do almost anything. I mean, like when we're processing for firewood and I'm felling a whole bunch of trees, and I joke a lot, like I still have all my fingers and toes and I haven't dropped a tree on myself. But like, if you look at some of my work boots, like there's marks on them and those are chainsaw marks.
Oh my God.
So it's like, just making sure you don't drop a tree on you is probably...
And then you're all by yourself. So.
Well, also in the community, since I'm a nerd and I do a lot of radio stuff, I have walkie-talkies for the whole community. So we monitor 2 channels. So like if something happens, my car breaks down, or someone rolls a tractor over the hill or something, you can jump on the radio and call for kind of help. Or just, it's kind of like a mountain, what are those old phones? Party lines.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like a party line for the mountain.
Does this remind you of that place in New Mexico we went to?
Yeah,
Have you ever heard of that? Or
Is it like an Earth ship?
video? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an Earth ship. Yeah.
On our way from Taos, New Mexico, we found this crazy place, and it is
the world's largest sustainable off-grid living community.
Have you ever heard of anything like that? I think I've heard something about sustainable living before, but it's always been like this close to science fiction concept almost. And now here it is, all real. And we actually met Maya, who works here, who gave us this interesting interview.
My name is Maya. These are Earthships, and this is Earthship Biotexture. It's a company, a small construction company, and so we can be hired to make these buildings. They're all off the grid, completely self-sustained residential buildings, houses.
I think it's wicked awesome. I mean, think about, like, we throw away tires, we throw away bottle glasses, and they're turning that into a building material.
Beautiful too.
Isn't it crazy? And it's just like cob houses.
And we use recycled materials, bottles, cans, tires for our main structural purpose.
You hear the terms like prepper a lot, and some people might say, oh, you're a prepper. I'm like, I'm probably a survivalist. Like, I like going out in the woods, I like camping. But like, you look at some of my prepper friends and like the backpacks that they have on versus me, I'll probably just go in the woods and I'll just figure it out kind of thing. I think a prepper, a homesteader, and a survivalist, like if you look at the basement, they're very, very similar. Like, you know what I mean? There's canned goods, right? And us on like the farm, like that's just what farmers did. Like that was homesteading. It's just the way that my canned goods got in my basement is because I planted the seeds, I took care of those plants, then I canned them all, and then I put in my basement. Where a survivalist or prepper, they might have just went down to Costco, bought a whole bunch of tomato sauce, and then put it in their basement.
Juergen, the badass homesteader, has a lot more really interesting stories to share. When you get them talking about how complex the world of bees can be, or sharing some stories from his past, there's so much to be explored there. Stuff that I think would be very interesting for you guys to hear, would be interesting for anyone to hear. So next time we get together with them, I'm gonna compel him to tell us more really cool stories that you definitely do not expect. For today, this is probably all from us, unless something else interesting happens, because it's almost sunset time and I don't like shooting past sunset.
But they'll rip her wings off, rip her legs off, and then throw her out the front porch. Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that perverted?
It is like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.